confirmations when you're talking about children. It's actually a religious thing. And so it's nothing to do with Bitcoins or blockchain. Anyway, so I'm not allowed back in the church anymore. But, so that's what happened. Oh, g'day.
Yeah, I wouldn't have let you in there to begin. So, kind of lessons learned in time for them. Yeah. But glad we're all on the same page now.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
Welcome back to the Moonshot Dispatch. Today is the 9th of September. And we've got so much actually to talk about this week. Ted Pillow's our favourite analyst. He's back. And it's too late now, but I know Jared's got some nice little images to stick up about good old Ted Pillows later on. Trump hasn't fired anyone this week, and the job numbers are horrible. So they're only going to get worse.
So let's just break this one down a little bit. The job numbers for July were something like 73,000 or something like that. But he was really pissed off at the previous months where they went from like 140 down to 20. And he was like, no, this is not on. And meanwhile, July's numbers come out in like early August at 73,000, I think. They actually got rated back up to 79, so it went up, but he still wanted this lady fired. Anyway, then comes August's numbers, which we've just received at 22,000. He must be ready to fire everyone. Like he's just pointing fingers. Yeah, everyone's fired. Like this is not on my watch, kind of thing.
So many people getting fired.
It was so gratifying, to be honest. Like so satisfying to see this thing. Like someone gets fired over 73,000, and then it goes to 22,000.
Oh, so many firings coming up.
Turns out she wasn't fudging the numbers. They're just really bad.
Was Biden fudging the numbers? Is that the implication?
Well, geez, if Biden is still able to fudge numbers in his state, that's very impressive.
That was the conspiracy theory I heard. Well, these are the real numbers because all the people who are fudging the numbers are now being fired.
Oh, I see. And they continue to fudge them for the next 8 months into the Trump presidency, even though...
A bunch of people who don't like their job are just doing the numbers now.
Yeah, okay. They've got instructions. No one ever told them to stop fudging. So.
Exactly. Ted Pillows, we mentioned him. The Treasury stuff. So there's been some big moves this week. So the Treasury stuff we need to jump into. Look, it doesn't matter what token. Someone's going to have a Treasury for it. That turns out to be the new reality. And crypto is going mainstream. No, it's not. Well, not quite.
Isn't that happening 5 years ago?
It's always going mainstream. The NASDAQ, there's been some huge moves in the US, particularly around the NASDAQ, not only potentially listing spot trading for crypto, but also tokenized stocks becoming just a regular thing. So we talked a few weeks ago about will existing businesses take on the technology, or will the new technology just take over? So we're going to have to unpack that. But first of all, you've got charts. Lots of them.
Yeah, so Jared, it's actually the third chart because we're jumping ahead. A couple of weeks ago, one of our listeners was interested in finding out about how layer one chains are sort of performing relative to each other. So I thought we'd sort of dive into this a little bit this week, and we'll start off with that. For those who want to know where this data comes from, there's this website called DeFi Llama. If you haven't looked at it, it's pretty good for this stuff. It's got a lot of information. This chart is from DeFi Llama. So what you're seeing on the screen here is from basically the start of 2024 to now, and it sort of shows how much total value locked on each chain is. The big blue thing at the bottom is Ethereum, obviously. No prizes for guessing that one. The ones above it, though, are kind of where it gets interesting. So the purple one that you can see just above Ethereum, which is started reasonably sized and is getting smaller and smaller, is Tron. So Tron historically basically had all of the volume for USDT. Essentially, it was basically a USDT chain that did nothing else than USDT. I believe that is still the case, but it's just a lot of other chains are kind of eating the lunch at the moment. You can see Ethereum's kind of had a slow increase over the last sort of few months, which makes sense considering everyone, like Ethereum is just flavor of the month. We've spoken about Ethereum for a long time now. Obviously, I'm the Ethereum whisperer. And so, that makes sense. But really, in my mind, what's eaten Tron's lunch here is Solana. So Solana's the one, not the gold one, which is the Bitcoin, but the red one just above Bitcoin is Solana. So that sort of red channel is getting thicker. The Bitcoin channel as well, which is the one in between Solana and Tron, that sort of orangey gold channel is Bitcoin. It's not really a layer one. I suppose it is. Like maybe if we get OpCat or OpCTV in, we'll be able to start doing more fancy layer 2-y side chainy stuff with Bitcoin, but at the moment really is just a chain for Bitcoin. So it's hard to consider it a layer one. Well, it is layer one, but it's not really anyway, you get what I'm saying.
Do they, Nick?
Yeah. Well, it's not traditionally in terms of like if you compare it to Ethereum or Solana or any of the L2s or Avalanche, for example, it's kind of different. But the big up and comer, I think, what we're going to see more and more of is Hyperliquid. So Hyperliquid is growing every day. The Hype coin hit all-time highs yesterday. I didn't actually check it today, but it's probably continuing to hit all-time highs. It's just breaking new ground at the moment. It's doing pretty well. But yeah, that's kind of the high-level view on what we're seeing. If there's a lot of noise on layer ones getting created all the time, I find. And it's easy to sort of forget that Ethereum is just so dominant in that space. Yes, Bitcoin has a higher market cap. Sorry, let me just turn my beeping off on my phone. Bitcoin has a higher market cap than Ethereum, but we're talking about sort of total value locked. This is kind of like a DeFi view of things. So obviously Bitcoin's DeFi play is much smaller. Ethereum is just the king and will be for the foreseeable future. It's really difficult to topple that, especially with the current narrative and push. Ethereum is just so going from strength to strength at the moment. Having said that, we may talk about it a bit later, but I'll jump in now with the information. We're seeing, in terms of ETF inflows, last month, Ethereum something like 10x'd. So this is in August, 10x'd Bitcoin's ETF inflows.
That's crazy.
Just going nuts. However, month to date, so in the first sort of, we're at 9 days, Ethereum has seen something like, actually no, maybe it was the first 5 days of September. Ethereum has seen something like $450 million of outflows, and Bitcoin's still seeing like 200 and something million inflows. So at the moment, Bitcoin is definitely flipping Ethereum on that metric specifically. But it's just, for me, it really highlights kind of how messy the data is at the moment. Like it's going up, it's going down, it's going left and right, and it's twirling sideways into the future. Who knows where it's going? I think there's just a lot of things you can try and put money in right now. Not even talking about like traditional stocks and whatnot, where the SPX hit its all-time high. Recently as well, I think. So everyone's kind of really expecting this rate cut in September 18, I think. Money is just flying everywhere into risky assets.
You'd have to think the rate cut is more assured with some of these terrible job numbers coming through.
Definitely, yeah, 100%. Trump is obviously, he's very money-minded. He's a businessman, as he keeps trying to tell everyone. So, he's going to want he's going to want the market to pump as many, despite the fact that he, I think publicly, regularly says he doesn't care about the Wall Street and doesn't even look at the numbers. He 100% does.
Yeah.
He's gonna want to pump those numbers and force a rate cut.
There is one area of confusion I think you could clear up, and that has to do with your acting debut, because last week you left all the viewers suspended in anticipation of will you play yourself, or perhaps have Leonardo DiCaprio play you as Satoshi Nakamoto, but also, there's two movies here. One is the Satoshi movie with Leonardo DiCaprio playing you, and the second one is you playing you in a movie about a local Bitcoin hero, in a movie that we may or may not be able to talk about.
If the local Bitcoin hero... So can you
clear up that mess for us first?
Well, if the local Bitcoin hero is watching, please dial in, leave a comment, give me a phone call. You have my number. If you're happy for me to divulge this stuff, I haven't actually spoken to them. I probably should have. That's my bad.
Is it more upsetting that they are not watching?
Maybe they are. I don't know. I know they did watch at least one episode, because didn't you get a comment from them about an episode? So, yeah.
I did.
Sorry. I've got no more news in that aspect. I mean, what do you think? Are my acting skills up to scratch? Should I do it myself, or do I need to get the professionals?
Well, this would be your debut, so I'm not quite sure
it
if
would
they're
be.
up to scratch.
Yeah, not since Year 10 drama have I.
What did you play in Year 10?
Oh, I don't think we even did a play.
Othello?
That's right.
Midsummer's...
Yeah.
What's it called? Midsummer's Dream?
Dreams.
Oh, Midsummer's Night Dream. Some Shakespeare that... I did actually when I did year 7 and 8 acting class, I did a Shakespeare bit. I think it was Midsummer Night's Dream, whatever it's called. That's how long ago. Lysander, that was the name of the character.
Oh, I was going to say you were Puck for sure.
well, the funny part is I had learnt the lines, but it was all in Shakespearean English, so I had no idea what I was saying.
Yeah.
So maybe I was Puck. I know I was Lysander, but I don't know the difference between them because I don't know what either of them are doing. So, is being Puck bad?
Puck's like a very mischievous one. You know, like causes trouble everywhere he goes.
What was Lysander's character?
He's like in love with a girl.
Oh, okay. So his job was to be in love with
just a
some
sob.
chick. Just a sob. There's a simp. Oh, so great. I was a simp. Okay. Well, I got nothing else to add because I don't know what I said. I didn't say. Actually, though I also did some other acting. When I lived in Korea, I had a small bit role as a foreigner. I know they would like, you have to be the foreigner. I was like, racist.
Were you like, you know, a good 2 feet taller than everyone there?
No, there's plenty of tall Koreans.
Oh, there? Okay.
There's plenty of tall Koreans. I'd say the average height is probably lower, but they have a lot of tall dudes.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right.
just imagining like the film scene. You know, like every time you come in, they have to zoom out. Zoom back in.
So in that movie, my character played a role. I was just in the distance, but I had one speaking line, and it was in Spanish. It's true, and I was in Spanish. And again, I don't know what I said.
Oh, no.
So I've had 2 acting jobs in my life, of which neither time I had any idea what I was doing or saying.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay.
So I don't think anyone out there looking for an actor who doesn't know what they're doing.
Yeah, to speak some language you don't understand.
I can do multiple languages even if I don't know what I'm saying. All right, so let's get into some of the news because there's been heaps going on this week. But the Treasury stuff's going a bit wild. But the really interesting stuff is the stuff that's happening on the NASDAQ. And we can tie this back into a theme that we've been running on for a while now, which is the discussion around will existing businesses adopt crypto technology or will new crypto businesses, which are now growing a lot, take over and just provide a new venue, a vampire attack, as I think the term you called. But before we get to all that, we have to talk about some of the news in relation to corporate treasuries. So now Solana has a treasury company, Dogecoin has a Dogecoin. Yeah. Someone's using that. Man, come on, let's get real here. So a NASDAQ listed company, Forward Industries, has secured 1.6 billion US in cash and stable coins to commit to a Sol treasury. Solana.
Yeah. I'm up for that. Like, how's that so much different from an Ethereum treasury company? I don't think it really is. You can earn yield on it, which is great. You know, sort of put your money to work in a way. The Doge one confuses me and reminds me of Bonk, and I know we had talks about Bonk and how important and professional and it is, but like the Toncoin one, I don't know. Doge has like got an issue, and it's like they're constantly inflating the supply. It seems crazy to me that you would put put your treasury into it, and on top of that, there's no surety on the issuance schedule. Like, tomorrow they could decide to change Doge, and you know what? Now it doesn't have any inflation, or now it's got 3 times the inflation. Just seems like a pretty risky move, if you ask me. Well,
this is it's a company called Clean Core Solutions, and they have a plan to amass 1 billion Doge. That's not $1 million worth; it's 1 million Doge in 30 days. So they're just like, let's just do this.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
Doge. Like, what's Doge worth? 20 cents or something, or 30 cents?
Still, it's good cash. Could be buying Bitcoin or something else.
We get bigger deals for Doge on their order, like on our OTC desk. That's pretty minor, if you ask me. Unless this is the company. Maybe the company is buying Doge through our OTC desk.
So I think the NASDAQ listed, but maybe it's just some penny dreadful stock anyway. Okay, still
$1 million. Was it $1 million Doge or $1 billion? Did you
1
say?
billion.
Oh, billion. Sorry, I thought you said $1 million. I was like, what? Yeah. Okay. No. That's decent size then. Apologies, I misheard. I clearly didn't read that article.
So they're still in flavour. So it will be interesting to see. I think the biggest thing with all this treasury stuff is to see what happens when the worm turns, when the market turns, and how committed to their treasury strategy are they?
100%. Yep.
We're just gonna have to wait and see. But it's still definitely in vogue. Still definitely the flavor of the month. And you know, I guess we'll keep an eye on those stories. But it seems to be happening more and more. It's funny because when Strategy first came out and was doing the Bitcoin strategy, everyone thought they were ridiculous, right? And they've crushed it. And then we've seen MetaPlanet crush it. We've seen a bunch of other businesses really crush it with that strategy. Now everyone's like, you know what? Hold my beer. But, you know, I could do the Bitcoin strategy, it'll probably work, but what if I do something really retarded?
It's got to be this, like, you know, you see those charts, the asymptotic chart where it just trends and never hits zero, but it just like gets closer and closer and closer by halves each time kind of thing. Yeah. And I feel like that's what you're doing when you're buying a Doge Treasury company in terms of the addressable market. So with Bitcoin, the addressable market's huge. It was the first crypto out there. You know, there's a lot of followers, a lot of diehard people. There's a lot of you know, aspects of the protocol that make it that lend it towards this kind of thing. But when you got something like Doge, I mean, how many people out there are hardcore Doge believers?
I know. This is the thing,
like, there can't be that many. So there's not going to be, you know, you're just going to have this diminishing returns and the people investing in a treasury company that only buys Doge with your money. It's like, I'd rather just buy Doge myself if I was a hardcore believer. I'm going to hold. There's no person who's like, oh man, if only my, you know, strategy paper allowed me to buy Doge. No, they're not. There's nothing.
Yeah,
like anyone who's a hardcore believer is just going to go to an exchange and buy it. Anyway, don't mean to be a naysayer.
No, I don't mean to be one either. But it's almost like I get the Bitcoin strategy, and it's almost like a lot of people are doing the Bitcoin strategy thing now, and it's almost like, oh no, that's too boring.
Yeah, so I agree. People are. Yeah, that's true.
People it works and it's great, but let's go do something more risky.
And they want to gamble. But yeah, then to me that's immediately a red flag, because if you're only attracting sort of the gamblers, you know that this is not a long-term play.
Yeah, totally.
You're going to have to buy it, hopefully make a bit of money, and then get out before the greater fool.
Yeah, interesting one. We'll keep following that thread, but you know, it's almost like we just have to park it and just come back in 12 months at the bottom of the market and just do a pulse check to see if it's even still alive.
Retrospective on all these DATs.
All right, so the next news, NASDAQ's bold bid for blockchain integrated equities. So this is something that's been, this is touching on the thing that we've been talking about for months now and will continue to, because it's probably the big question for crypto's genuine ascent into mainstreamery. It's made that word up. But NASDAQ has filed a proposal for the US Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, I should have just started with that, to amend its rules enabling trading of tokenized versions of stocks and exchange-traded products alongside traditional securities. So a genuine merging, allowing, I guess, you know, potentially, I guess the benefits would be faster settlement, 24-hour trading capacity, a lot of things that, you know, if they get it right, everything's going to move across to this, right?
Yeah. So I think I'll admit I haven't looked too deeply into this one, but I think what they're basically trying to do is if you can tokenize a stock and issue it and have people get all the same the same rights as an actual physical stockholder, then that kind of changes the game, because the concept of tokenized stocks has existed for quite a while now, right? Like even FTX were doing it back in the day. A lot of companies have been doing it for a while, but really what's happening is they're kind of wrapping a stock and they'll buy it for you. They hold the actual stock and you just get exposure to the price. Whereas that's not really, like when you're buying a stock or a share, there are other things like voting rights and whatnot that you really sort of are allowed to do with this thing. I think what the NASDAQ's trying to do here is say, look, we want to be able to tokenize our stocks and give people who hold the token full control of all the the aspects of this stock that you would get if you were holding like the traditional version of it. And I think that's cool.
Well, that's interesting because Galaxy Digital is tokenizing some common stock, some Class A common stock directly on Solana, so in partnership with Superstate. So what is, just to touch on your point, which is exactly right, most of these tokenized stocks are really derivatives, kind of like stocks held one-to-one with actual securities, but they're really just like a mirroring of the actual stock, whereas the Galaxy token holders do give the same rights as other stockholders.
That's right.
And it enables on-chain storage and fast transfer. So that is a genuine, I guess, example of what we're talking about here. It's not just like here's a mirrored representation of a stock. This is the actual, voting rights attached.
You are now an owner of.
You're now an
this
owner.
company. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think what NASDAQ is trying to do is kind of bring it to the masses. So I guess Galaxy have sort of done it themselves, but you really need the platform to do it, so everyone can get access to this kind of thing, because it's kind of, it'd be annoying to have some of your shares here and some of your shares there, and if everyone, you can just hold it all in your MetaMask wallet. Happy days.
Yeah. So where does it kind of leave us, I guess? I mean, it's the kind of thing, or once the proof of concept sort of can take place and you can say, oh, this works. I mean, realistically, how quickly do you think you could move across to this kind of new way of doing things? Is it a case of where the first thing happens and then it's just like an absolute surge, or is it going to take a little bit longer? Yeah,
I think this comes back to your question before, or your statement about how's it going to work? Is it going to be sorry, I've forgotten how you phrased it, but where are the incumbents going to get bowled over by build crypto rails underneath, or are crypto native companies going to just eat their lunch and eventually the incumbents will wither and die on the vine, kind of thing?
Yeah.
And I think this is a clear case of where the incumbents are building the technology to be to use the new crypto rail technology.
As opposed to the other way around.
As opposed to the other way around, yeah.
So the NASDAQ, for example, I mean, it could say, you know what, let's start, let's build our own technology. I guess they probably won't. They'll probably lease it from someone who develops it and just use their brand name to do it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the NASDAQ, the exchange itself, is just it's a corporation. It's a business. It's not like it exists it wants people to list on their exchange. It provides the technology and for people to listen in and listen. Wait, what am I talking about? I'm getting distracted. You NASDAQ, you could retrofit something that we provide. Something that we provide. Or why don't we just do it ourselves? And future participants, in fact, existing participants, might securitize, tokenize their offering and move it into my business, which would cannibalize your business, and new ones would just skip you guys and come straight to me.
Possibly.
Right?
And and you're right. This is exactly what we spoke about last week. I don't think that's viable. I think these NASDAQs have such a moat at the moment, and they're already looking at ways to capitalize on the new technology. If they did a Kodak and was like, no, we're going to stay like this forever, and then I'd be like, okay, cool. Some new guy can come in, build a better product, and just eat their lunch. But I feel like they're staying, at least at the moment, on top of it enough. They're not going to be able to, the moat is still big enough that they can just, keep going.
Keep going. Yeah, and look, the moves that we've seen, I guess, the news this week is that the the evidence is suggesting, and there's some other stuff we'll talk about later on, seems to be suggesting, no, people are going to get behind it. It's the tech stuff that's happening now. It's the adoption of the technology integrated into existing businesses that seems to be the current forerunner of the way this will go. But and
anyone with a bag is sort of praying for this kind of stuff, right? Because they want to see, these big companies essentially pump their own bags by going, oh, we've now integrated with Ethereum or Solana or God forbid Tron, and then their bags get pumped.
Yeah, I got a feeling it's probably not going to be Tron. Maybe you never know. All right, so before we jump on to maybe some news from other areas, the OTC desk activity. So we've seen a fair bit of trading this week, some on-ramping, some off-ramping. It's been a lot more balanced flow, with a slight skewing towards people on-ramping.
Yeah, I think to me it feels a bit like people are not scared of this dip that we're currently in. So obviously we sort of hit an all-time high a couple of weeks ago of sort of 124K US, I think it was in Bitcoin terms. Everyone was euphoric and it was, everything was awesome. We've now retraced sort of 15K or so, which is worrying if you're looking at this thing every single minute, which, most of us are. But you kind of need to zoom out and blah, blah, blah. And as you say, on the desk, we've seen a lot of buying activity. So people are they're not panic selling, they're taking the opportunity and buying the dip, which is, good to see.
So all around. So, actually, that's a good segue into some other headlines. So we've got some stuff around. Ledger's actually come up with some big news this week around some security stuff. There's an ETH metric that has flipped negative, some flux metric.
Are you doing a sort of clickbait here?
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
But because I was skipping forward because it's not in order here, a analyst, from Alfractal, Zhao Wedson, we've talked about a fairly healthy market, but he reckons the 4-year Bitcoin cycle will end in October. So you called December, and no one was happy with you. This guy's saying next month.
I don't know what this guy's drinking because October, please. Everyone knows it's December. Didn't they watch last Moonshot?
At very least December. You know what? We don't think now I can tick that article off because
No, I mean it's interesting. Like, what did I have to say about that one? Oh yeah, so he's talking about this guy's saying, it's signaling end of bull market, but our mate Ted Pillows says that it's a healthy 20 to 30% or something pullback, and this has happened before, and then we're about to have like this explosive Q4. So make up your minds. Is it bull market over, or are we Ted Pillowing our way to profitability?
So we need. So let's just throw these two in a room for a pillow.
Pillow fight. Yes.
Wedson and Pillows duking it out in their pajamas. Who will win? My money's on Ted Pillows.
I mean, you mentioned the repetition fractal side. Like this bull market's over in October is a bit sus to me. And then if you look on the webpage, the final chart is this chart where it's got like a percentage, Bitcoin's percentage from some unknown number. It's just like starts at 3%. So where's zero? We don't know. And it's sort of charting the Bitcoin price as a percentage. But then as the tagline of the chart, it says USDT market cap.
What?
It's like, so I don't know. This whole article, I'm a bit, it's like someone didn't spend too much time writing it. This has got Ted Pillows all over it. He's got a pseudonym. He's writing his own articles.
Ted,
now.
what are you doing?
Classic Ted.
Classic Ted. Do you reckon? Oh, we had someone log in as Leonardo DiCaprio. You reckon that's Ted Pillows?
Probably. This guy's everywhere.
Ted, he didn't want to use his own name, so he's like used Leonardo DiCaprio. Cheeky Ted. All right, news onwards. Major crypto security threats. So I woke up, and this is all over my Twitter, X feed, whatever you want to call it these days. Ledger Chief Technology Officer talking about a large-scale supply chain attack. So Ledger's pretty big name. There's a lot of people trusting it. Something to do with compromise the JavaScript, the NPM account. I don't know what that means. Of a reputable developer is not good news. Maybe you can break it down and explain that one to us.
Yeah, sure. For some reason, a lot of people are attributing this to this Ledger thing. Ledger has nothing to do with it. Ledger, like the Ledger CEO or something, just tweeted it, but about 1,000 other people tweeted it as well. And there's sort of more security-focused companies out there which sort of are giving much more data about it. But yeah, it's interesting. Basically, the idea is there's this thing called an NPM repository. So you can kind of store software applications and libraries, they're called, on this NPM repository, and heaps of places use NPM because it's very simple. You kind of just go NPM get, independent reserve, and you can get the independent reserve library from the NPM server. It just sort of makes that kind of stuff really simple. Basically, a hacker managed to get control of a very prolific JavaScript developers' NPM credentials, so they could log into their NPM server or NPM login and upload their own version of this guy's libraries.
Right.
And what they were able to do there is basically put in this malware code into all of his libraries. This guy has written some really base level kind of stuff that gets used everywhere. There's something like, there's billions of downloads literally of this guy's stuff. He just writes these simple things. They haven't been changed in quite a while. So they're used across the board. They're well trusted. They're battle tested. But the malware got uploaded, and suddenly everyone, because most sort of systems will automatically download the new NPM libraries if there's new versions there when they get deployed. So a lot of these things got downloaded. Fortunately, in this scenario, the malware was inserted on like yesterday sometime, September the 8th. And as far as I can tell, it's all been removed as of this morning. So there was a very short window for people to actually download these things, on top of the fact that most of the time it's going to be like, say, software companies that are downloading these libraries, and then they have to build it into their product, and then they have to deploy their product to their customer. And there's a chain here that doesn't happen quickly. Gotcha. So the amount of actual infected software that people use is going to be pretty low,
if at all.
If you do use this stuff, you're pretty safe now, because you just make sure you do a new, like an NPM install across all of your packages, and it'll pull down the correct versions at this stage, as far as I know.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it was interesting because what it did was it would look for if you had a MetaMask wallet, and when you were trying to sign a transaction, in the back end, it would replace your address with one of the hacked addresses.
No way.
One of the hackers' addresses, yeah, and you would unknowingly be signing something for to send crypto to a hacker address.
Damn. These North Koreans are getting good.
Yeah.
So they base.
Yeah, right.
No way.
You know the clipboard changer?
Oh yeah, so there's similar hacks. They're called like clipboard scanners or clipboard. Basically, when you Control C on an address and then Control V to paste it into your MetaMask or whatever, it'll paste in their address instead of the one you've actually copied. This one was even more advanced than this though, in that you would still see your address on the MetaMask thing, and when you click sign, the thing would grab their address and sign with a different address under the hood, so you wouldn't even know.
That's crazy.
Right? If you didn't have MetaMask, it would act more like the clipboard hijacker, where it would just put in their address instead of yours. But the other thing that it did, which is pretty cool actually, was they didn't just have one hacker address. They have like a list of 100 of them, all different types of addresses for Solana, for Ethereum, for Bitcoin, whatever. And what it would do is when you put in your address, it would look at that address, figure out of this huge list of addresses that it owned, which one was the closest to that address.
No way.
And then it would use that address, so that even if you checked, you would have to be really careful
Like
because it would look kind of similar.
No
Because
way.
they would so it was
nuts.
pretty amazing.
So that is crazy. So they basically got a hold of this Chad JavaScript dude, the chat of JavaScripts.
yeah.
Got his account and just when everyone uses his stuff. So
Yeah. They
Man,
injected
that's
this
crazy.
stuff into it, and then fortunately though, because of what I described before, it was the chain of events that would have to happen for this to actually infect someone's computer is pretty unlikely. You'd have to do a deploy exactly in the time when it was infected, and then get it all the way through your process and deploy it to your customers, kind of thing. Because of that, so small, I think
pretty unlucky to get.
pretty unlucky. And the last check when I was looking, I think they had stolen $200. So it's a huge attack. Everyone's talking about it. It's this guy's repository is being totally owned, and yet only $200 was gone. And this is really thanks to people figuring this out quickly. Because if people hadn't and it had just gone unnoticed, the longer it would have gone unnoticed for the more people would be like, "Why I keep losing crypto? Why do I keep losing my crypto?" Yeah.
Man,
But
that's
fortunately, it was less than a day that it was actually there, and really no one got affected.
And we don't know who it was. We just assume the North Koreans are
I
just
just
doing
assume, yeah. It was a fair assumption.
it. Oh man, do you reckon the North Koreans would give me an acting job, seeing with all my credentials?
Yeah, as long as you're playing like a South African. How good's your South African accent?
Terrible. That's wild. That is absolutely wild. Okay, well, thanks for clearing that up, because I quickly glanced over it and it looked like there'd been some issue with Ledger or something, but actually it was just the Ledger guy was just going,
Ledger.
by the way, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you use a Ledger, it's much harder because the hack doesn't involve Ledger. So it would do the second one where you have to double check the address, and it could still get you, as I say, they're close, but it's really, if you're using MetaMask, the script actively is looking for a MetaMask window on your computer. And then that's when it gets really dangerous, because you can't even double check where you're sending to. So the best case, as always, and this is we've had some customers reach out and say, hey, how does this affect independent reserve? It doesn't. We don't use those libraries. None of the libraries that we use are affected in this way. But you kind of just need to, we can't be sure, right? Because they could have other software on their computer or they're using other web pages or whatever that's in relation, and it, is affected. So I'm just telling people, look, do a test. That's the best way to do it, right? This thing isn't smart enough to send the first one to the correct address, and as far as I know, the second one to the fake address.
I think the only thing that's currently held on my MetaMask is my OHM that I bought. So imagine this dude, these North Koreans went and did all that, and all they got was my OHM.
Oh, I'd be so pissed off.
All that work for 200, probably was my OHM.
Yeah. You wish it was worth $200.
So all that work and all they got was my OHM, the $200. I don't think I have $200.
Yeah, it's not worth that much anymore.
Well, time for you to delve right into what you know best, which is ETH. So there's an F metric which has flipped negative, but hold the press. It's actually good news.
Yeah, can we bring up chart number 1?
Chart time.
So this is basically talking about how the ETH inflows and outflows from centralized exchanges. The blue, so the black line there on the chart you can see is the price of ETH. You can kind of ignore that, but the blue lines underneath is how how much like inflows versus outflows. So anything above the bottom of the chart basically means that there's more ETH getting deposited on exchanges than withdrawn. And you can see basically from, I don't know, was it 2023 or something? I can't really see on the chart there, but you can see it's been basically this downward trend with that red arrow. And right at the bottom there, in the bottom right-hand corner circled, it's finally flipped to negative, which means more Ethereum is being withdrawn from exchanges than being deposited. For those who don't sort of aren't used to looking at charts like this, the basic idea is that if you're seeing crypto getting deposited into an exchange, there is the assumption that it's being deposited purely for the act of selling. So it's generally a bearish signal if people are depositing crypto to an exchange. People are withdrawing crypto from an exchange. It's it's the opposite. People have bought it and they're now withdrawing it to their self-custody wallet or whatever. Maybe they're withdrawing it to stake it or any of these kind of things. But yeah, it's kind of interesting because I'd never really considered this idea of I'd never really thought that it would have been so positive, like so much deposit pressure for so long, and yet like just look at that chart. It's crazy. We've never come even close to having that metric as negative. But yeah, here we are now, and this just kind of further enforces this whole everything is awesome for Ethereum at the moment.
Yeah, and sort of on the bottom there, is that all time? Or was that what period was?
What do you mean?
From
yeah, it's all time. This is the first time it's ever gone negative.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was the first time since last time, but first time was the very first time.
I think so. Yeah.
Wow. Man,
at least according to that news article, but.
So there's a point at which, where's that sharp point? You see where it just drops and all of a sudden everyone is just taking their ETH off exchange? Like how close was that to the time that you called the Petra upgrade?
I think it's right on.
Right on the top of the red?
Yeah.
Literally on the top of that red mark.
That would have...
summer where that started?
Probably. Yeah, I can't see the time frames from here, but...
2020.
Often, every week I've got some guy coming up to me going, have you heard about this new protocol? It's like, I've never heard of it. They're like, yeah, it's going to replace ETH. You're like...
Yeah, it's the ETH killer.
No, it's not. Going back, that first chart you had up was fascinating because that is like, it shows the dominance in terms of on-chain activity. It's just dwarfing everything else.
Yeah.
So maybe something else will win, but right now, man, ETH really has a stranglehold on the market.
Yeah, and for good reason. I feel like, in a way, they've kind of ignored the noise. Yes, they reshuffled the Ethereum Foundation, which so far has been pretty positive for everything, especially the price. But they've just been building through the tough times, making the protocols I know for a long while they were spending a lot of effort, making transactions more efficient, making things faster, making things cheaper. And a lot of people were like, well, why are you bothering with this stuff? There's no activity on this chain. Everything's already so cheap. The fees are like sub 1 Gwei kind of thing. But they were building for the future, right? They were building for a time when things did get busy again. And now things are getting much busier. You look like last week we spoke about the active addresses are at all-time highs kind of thing. Yeah. And yet the fees are still usually sub 1, worst case like 1 or 2 Gwei, which is just so cheap. Like I remember, back in the day trying to do DeFi when things were hot.
Yeah, super expensive. Yeah,
so expensive, like 1,000 plus Gwei. Sometimes you just couldn't do it. Like there would be actual limitations to the amount of fees you could attempt to pay on a transaction. It just wouldn't work, and you'd get liquidated because you just couldn't pay the collateral. Like you just come on, let me pay this collateral.
Yeah, I remember. And I remember all the memes of just like comparing it to like actual petrol prices at the time when things were spiking and like people just couldn't afford to drive and said those, there's just all this, anyway.
Yeah, but now, it's like heating up and everything's working pretty well. So I think they've done a good job. And yeah, here we are. We've got negative metrics, and which is good, which is positive. So yeah, it's going well.
Nice. That's hectic.
And so yeah, what else was I was going to talk about this? Oh yeah, so this whole thing about withdrawing Ethereum, I will say anecdotally, I've noticed that Ethereum order books are thinner. So when I'm looking like trading Ethereum, like they're not as thick as they used to be. Now this is very anecdotally, and I haven't actually done any sort of, any research into this or.
Are you speculating, Nick?
Full speculation, but it is something I have specifically noticed when I'm trying to trade on Ethereum order books. I'm like, man, I used to be able to do more than I can do these days.
Do you think that's because of to be specific, are you looking at like centralized order book exchange volumes? And so a lot more of the activity is potentially happening on chain, is what you're sort of saying here? Or is it?
I'm not talking about activity. I'm talking about depth of order book.
No, it's because the trading is happening on dexes and
Maybe.
because people have bought, most of the people who are participating have already bought large amounts, or is it?
Yeah, look, there could be 1,000 different reasons. As I say, it's very anecdotal evidence here, but it's just something I've noticed. And you'd think like as the market is maturing, the market cap's growing, they'd get thicker, they'd get deeper, not thinner. But anyway, it's just an anecdotal thing. So something else there's another chart here which I thought was interesting to look at. We often talk about sort of staking. So one of the big advantages of a chain like Ethereum is you can stake your coins, you can earn yield. You don't just have to. It's not just like Bitcoin where you kind of generally have to just let it sit there. This is this staking chart. So I get questions about Ethereum staking. So you can see this goes back to 2023, I think. And you can see the yield was above 5% there, and it's the trend is pretty clear. So it's kind of come down, and now we're sort of just below 3%. Just as a viewer, I thought this might be interesting for the viewers to have a look at. Why is it getting lower? Is the next question I hear you ask. Well, the answer.
Why? Well, why?
Basically, because more and more people are staking. So there are the inputs to yield are how much the protocol is earning essentially, and the outputs are how many people it has to distribute it to. There's currently about 30% of Ethereum is staked, which is a pretty decent number considering the large amount of Ethereum that's out there, and it's just going up. So at the moment, the validator queues. So when you want to stake Ethereum, if you're staking it natively on chain, you need to basically get in a queue. And the same for unstaking. When you're unstaking your Ethereum, you need to get in a queue because they're trying to like normalize the lumpiness of staking and unstaking. Just because they don't want to sit there and go, oh, suddenly there's like 3 times the amount of stakers and the validators all get out of whack and whatnot. So they're just trying to like normalize that process. And for the first, I know the last few weeks we've spoken about how the exit queue is much bigger than the entry queue, and people usually conflate that idea with the concept that everyone is going to exit their staking position and sell. Fast forward to today, and the input is the input queue, the entry queue, is bigger than the exit queue. So we've got more people sitting there waiting to get their stake built. It's pretty cool. And this kind of comes back to what we talked about before. Like the data is just everywhere at the moment.
Yeah.
Like last week, it's more exits than entries. Now there's more entries than exits. ETFs are up, they're down, they're negative, they're left, they're right. Sort of. I don't know. I'm just waiting for a clear direction.
Yeah. Hey, Nick, I wasn't being rude and deliberately ignoring you. I was sending a text to our mystery movie character and asking if we can talk about it. And hopefully I get a response so we can address this before the end of the episode.
We could just make this a multi-seasonal thing. Like wait for season 2 of Moonshot where we discover.
If they get back to me live on air, we can actually start talking about this because this would be fascinating. Maybe for the viewers, or maybe not from the viewers. Oh, wait, Jared's typing something to us. Oh, we'll come back to that one. Okay, so before Jared... what? Jared, I can't understand what you're typing to us. I think I'm going to guess that's not English that you're writing, but I reckon we could piece it together just based on, the vibes. But we'll come back to that. So the SEC and the CFTC. So this is the next article we have to cover off on. 2 US regulatory bodies that under Gary Gensler were not fans of crypto, but under Trump, well, we know it's a very different thing. So they're holding a roundtable at the end of this month to discuss talking about DeFi and having 24/7 trading for traditional markets, which would of course involve potentially using crypto. Yeah. So that, but also talking about whether they will have, mainstream exchanges also list spot trading for crypto.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I really hope they don't use crypto to facilitate 24/7 trading, because it's like, come on, guys. It's not, you can just build a data. We've spoken about this previous weeks, right, where, they're just using the word blockchain because it sounds cool. no, don't use crypto for this. Build a database. You can do it much better, much cheaper, much faster, than using crypto for your internal systems. Yes, like I say, like part of this thing is, the kind of like SEC and the CFTC, they're like forcing them to kiss now because everybody's so angry at each other. But now that they're allowed, now they're coming out with these joint sort of statements about how they can, and it's not like they're changing the law, right, to allow this stuff to happen. All these two regulatory bodies are coming out is saying, look, we want to clarify the existing law, and the existing law allows you guys to trade digital assets. It doesn't, we're not going to, and it's funny, they don't specify which ones. They just say like, common, or I can't remember the words they use, but it's sort of like the big boys, the big crypto assets. They're not, then we're not going to get you in trouble for trading these things. The existing exchanges like Coinbase and whatever in the US, Kraken, don't really fall under these rules. So they're not, I mean, like famously the SEC was suing all of the US exchanges for this stuff. Everyone really, US or not. But yeah, these rules are kind of what we talked about before, where the NASDAQ can now like offer digital assets basically. Yeah.
Well, as a little bit of a side note to this whole thing, so apparently, I don't have a source for this, so just trust me, bro. But Gary Gensler appears to have accidentally deleted every text message he made between October, very specifically October 2022, and September 2023. Just by accident, I guess.
Just you slipped and fell.
Slipped and
clicked
fell.
for 4 hours deleting. Yeah, I don't know.
He was madly deleting, I guess, text messages between him and love messages between Epstein. I was going to say Elizabeth Warren, but maybe Epstein's involved somehow. But that's pretty convenient to have just accidentally deleted some text between some very specific times. Right about the time a bunch of like exchanges, banks were going down with crypto, just only for no particular reason, but they did happen to have a lot of involvement in crypto. I don't know. I'm just wildly speculating here. Gary Gensler
I don't want to go to jail. I'm not saying anything.
I'll tell you who doesn't. There's a good chance Gary Gensler is not a fan of the show. I reckon he's never heard of us. I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah. Should we get him on?
Him and the 5 billion other people that don't listen. Okay. So just an accident. So anyway, bad luck, Gary. Just be careful next time, okay? Yeah.
Yes.
Trust us.
You should just start using
be really careful,
Signal with auto delete.
Disappearing messages.
And how do we even find out about this? Sorry, I actually didn't need to do any research into this one. Did
you read this one? There's a hyperlink on my page, but I can't click it.
No, usually I click them. I don't know. I missed that one.
There's a hyperlink. I don't know. Maybe we're gonna click
let's
it.
find out. I planned on reading that one and then I got distracted by something.
All right, we'll circle back to the source on that one. What is the secret source? Okay, Fidelity's tokenized funds. Did we? Yes. So, Fidelity's been in this space for a long time. So it's funny because there are certain businesses. I know Fidelity. I was on a panel in Singapore for I think 2 or 3 years ago, and then the guys from Fidelity were there. And like I said this before, like they weren't passerbyers.
No.
They weren't tourists at all. They were in it and they were really committed to it and they knew their stuff. So it looks like they're getting some traction. So they've unveiled a tokenized Treasury money market fund on Ethereum, which you already knew because it's on Ethereum and you know everything to do with Ethereum. But they have already grown US 230 million in the space of a few days.
Yes.
So they've taken a bunch of funds. Yep.
Yeah, we spoke about this one actually back in March. They've had plans for it for a while. So a money market fund is basically just a way to earn yield. So they earn in very low risk. Sorry, they will invest your money in very low risk things like T-bills and stuff like that can earn you some kind of yield. They've got a sort of I can't remember what it's called, like FYXXDHO or something like that, money market that they've now tokenized with this FDIT, and it's available on Ethereum, blah blah blah. It's still only available to sophisticated investors. You can't just buy it on some Uniswap or whatever. But yeah, it's interesting, and it's sort of they're following through with their promises. So I think it's good. We'll see. I think it'll be more interesting when it becomes, I don't know if it'll ever become permissionless or public or whatever. But it's an idea. Do they ever allow these kind of things to get traded just publicly on Ethereum blockchain. Anyone in the world can buy it. I don't know. Don't know. Maybe never.
Yeah. So we've got a bit of an update then on the Gary Gensler thing. He's just blaming the IT department. So it's been reported. So the report released on Wednesday from the OIG. I'm not quite sure who the OIG is. Office of Information something. Gathering. I'm guessing gathering. Revealed that the SEC's IT department implemented a poorly understood and automated policy that caused an enterprise wipe of Gary Gensler's government-issued mobile device.
The intern's getting fired.
Which deleted stored messages and operating systems, but specifically just between October 2022 and September 2023, right at the heart of when they were really, really cracking down on crypto.
Yeah. Do you reckon he paid some intern?
Gary, what have you done?
Oh, gosh. I don't know, Jared.
Dear, oh dear. Yeah, so just went in down, like they've just kind of...
So it wasn't him is what they're saying.
Well...
This is the claim.
Apparently it's not him. He just was not me, bro.
Yeah. I mean, does he even work there anymore?
I don't know.
He's in private enterprise now, isn't he? I don't think he's... Like, what do you do once you get fired? You don't work there anymore, right?
OIG is the Office of Investigations for Gary.
Oh,
yeah.
Office of Investigations.
Gary's got his own investigation.
Oh, man, that stinks, doesn't it?
But, I mean, he doesn't work there. Like...
So he doesn't...
Yeah, I mean, that's what
right,
he used to be a professor as well before he did all this stuff.
Back to being a professor. So he's just kind of like... So someone else has got in there. Elizabeth Warren's got her goons in there. Is that what's happened?
Must be. But
wild speculation.
I mean, he's at arm's length now. He can't be blamed for any of this.
So he just disappeared and he's like, yeah, go check it. I don't care what you do now. And someone else has just decided to get in there and do it. Oh, conspiracy theorists is going wild.
Someone's... I don't know. Do you reckon people get fired? Trump will probably fire some people for this.
Oh, man.
He loves it.
That's incredible. Someone should make a movie about this.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I could play Gary Gensler.
Can you play Gary Gensler and I can play Leonardo DiCaprio playing you? Somehow, Gary Gensler. You'd make a good Gary Gensler, though.
Yeah, okay. I'll just shave my head. He's like profoundly bald.
That's not why I was suggesting you should play Gary Gensler. I was just because I know you're a good actor. I'm not a good actor.
Thanks. Yeah.
I could play someone who doesn't speak English. And that's about it. Oh, I've proven that that's the only role I'm fit for. All right. Well, that's interesting. Do we have any more charts of yours, Nick? You had more charts. You weren't done with the charts.
Sorry, that's all the charts.
Oh, we're out of charts.
Yep. We've done my 3 charts.
Oh, man. Well, in that case, we've done the news. But we haven't addressed one thing. So next week, we are going to touch on the WLFI, so World Liberty Financial. There's one of our listeners, Robert Gray. Thanks for listening, man. You made a comment there about we're going to delve into that. So I guess the question was around broadly, there's a close affiliation. I guess there's a big push for stable coins right now. Trump's involved with this. There's been some accusations thrown around that maybe Trump was doing this for his own gain. Who knows? Oh,
it's pretty spicy. And I think it's like if you think Trump wasn't doing this for his own gain, I don't know. It's like so obvious to me anyway. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll talk about it next week. Could be pretty interesting. I'll delve into the data and the on-chain analytics maybe.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Oh, J.K. Simmons. Yes, he's an actor. He would make a great Gary Gensler.
That's right.
I know that. That guy's great. He's good. Yeah, I've seen him in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you ever see? Did you ever see Oz? It was a HBO drama about all this prison politics.
No.
And he played like a ringleader. I'd seen him in a bunch of movies. He always plays that like.
He's that news guy in Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah. His characters are always tough as, right? Yeah, but that's the only thing. He always plays a really tough, like a streetwise kind of tough guy. Gary Gensler doesn't strike me as a streetwise tough guy.
No, I've seen him in other softer roles, like where he's this doting father and stuff like that. He's got range.
He's got range.
Yeah,
as an actor should. Unlike we don't. Unlike typecast like me.
Did you get an update from your friend?
Oh,
my friend.
I reckon they haven't checked it. We're being so coy about this. Oh, no. The answer is unfortunately not.
Oh, that just adds extra.
No. Lucky we didn't say anything. We could have got ourselves and them in trouble.
Yeah,
No.
like
no.
our tens of listeners would have spread the word.
Gary Gensler's doing acting classes, getting ready for playing the role, and now he doesn't even know what he's preparing for. This is terrible news. Oh, I guess we're just going to have to speculate about the role you played. No good to hear.
For those who are new listeners and joining us for the first time, the reason why we're talking about all this nonsense, last week there was we talked about there's some like Hollywood story about Satoshi, the pseudo-anonymous inventor of Bitcoin. I can't remember what it's called now. The Satoshi Files, maybe? I don't know. Maybe Killing Satoshi, that's it. And the Liam Hemsworth is in it? No, the Hemsworth brother.
Chris,
The other one. No, it is Liam then. No, not Hemsworth.
It's Chris and Liam.
No, it's not. Is it?
Davidson's in it.
Pete Davidson and
What are
some
you
other
talking about,
guy.
the
There's some
Hemsworth
other
thing?
guy. No, maybe it is Affleck. Casey Affleck.
Oh, Casey
Affleck. That's it. And he was some brother of some like more famous guy. They're making this movie, and it seems ridiculous to us because most of it would just be this guy coding in a basement somewhere.
Yeah, it was the one that's going to have political intrigue and dudes hanging off like skyscrapers.
Yeah, that's
and
right. Like how
planes
they-
flying under tunnels, through tunnels to like save Bitcoin.
It's gonna. Yeah. Anyway.
Peter
so-
Schiff in a cape being the bad guy.
Yeah, with a goatee. Anyway.
There it is.
Okay, we're about to hit you with some more pictures.
It's picture time.
Satoshi.
As you can see, we've gotten to the news and now we're purely just going for the pictures.
Yeah.
Well, you could play Leonardo.
I mean, I'm not playing Leonardo. Leonardo's playing me in my vital role in the creation of Bitcoin, obviously.
Eating ramen and coding.
Yeah.
So much intrigue. All right. Well, I think we're done. It's been an hour. People are sick of us. Back again. This time, because I have to ask, can you like it, share it, do some stuff? I don't know. Subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. And we'll see you next week.
See you later.